4. The Man in White. Claudia. A man dressed in a white suit with blonde hair and a red tie stepped out of Joseph's office. He gave me the creeps. There was something about those clear blue eyes and that calm smile upon his face that wasn't right. John emerged out of the office from behind him, looking speechless. There was silence in the room for a mere second, except for the phone on Mrs. Wallace's desk ringing and her voice answering it. I think we were all waiting for the introduction. Joseph finally stepped up to do the honors. "Michael, I'd like to introduce you to someone," he said. John turned around. I couldn't read him to know what was running through his mind. The man in the white suit was smiling at us. Our eyes met. I felt a shudder race up my back. "This is Dr. Bryce Müller, my brother and John's father," Joseph introduced the man. I bit my lip. John looked over at me. I wanted to know what was on his mind after this discovery. Was this the same game they had been playing? Like Joseph pretending to be his uncle? Was this the same story with this man? Who really was he? The thought scared me. Could this be the boss? The same man that had sent John here? "It's a pleasure, Mr. McClellan," the man said very dryly. He had a strong, firm voice, with a hint of a German accent. Quite frightful. His demeanor displayed superiority. Someone who would get his way anywhere. I bet he had an ugly bedside manner. He was a surgeon after all, or so the story went. I couldn't read him either, but that didn't surprise me. If he was acting like John's father for the game they were playing, he would also be wearing a watch. I looked at the edges of his white sleeves and saw one. It looked so normal. Nothing like the ones John and Joseph wore. He had a cold and egotistical demeanor about him, too. With an appearance emitting such power, he looked unapproachable. John looked a little confused and surprised by the news. "Please, call me Michael. It's nice to finally put a face to the name," Michael said respectfully. "I've heard so many nice things about you. I never thought I would get the honor to meet you. Please accept my condolences for your loss." "Thank you." Dr. Müller barely displayed any affection as he accepted another man's sympathies. "I feel badly. I know nothing about you," he condescendingly said. It was quiet for a moment. "My brother just got into town," Joseph offered over the unpleasantries. "Quite a display you have outside," Dr. Müller said arrogantly. He sounded so cold and heartless. I hated him already. There was no way this man was related to John. "Forgive my intrusion, but I was curious. I wanted to see what educational accommodations my brother had reserved for my son. Imagine my disappointment." That hit Michael hard since he was a great admirer and supporter of Milton. That made me mad. "Don't be deceived by what Milton lacks in appearance, sir. It's what you don't see that makes it a strong school. Milton has great teachers and some of the best staff," I said in defense of my guardian and the school he held so close to his heart. I felt Michael's hand on my shoulder almost immediately. When Dr. Müller's eyes smiled over at me, I wanted to take back my words. John appeared impressed. "Ah, and who might this be?" he neared. I swallowed hard. "This is Claudia Bell," Joseph said, shooting me an icy look. "So, you are the lovely young lady who's distracted my son." "Distracted?" "I must admit, I completely understand now," he grinned. I lowered my eyes. "John, you didn't mention she was such an exotic beauty, and so intelligent." John was looking slightly vulnerable and uneasy in this man's presence. I didn't understand it. Joseph appeared far more menacing in the days past. A man in a dark suit entered the office. "Are you ready, sir?" the man asked Dr. Müller. "The vehicle is waiting for you." "Ah, yes. Thank you, Jonas. We must do this again." He shook Michael's hand. Michael was beside himself, speechless after what he had said regarding Milton. To me, he offered a smile and winked before moving to the door. He turned again just before exiting the office. "You should join John and I for dinner. I'll be in town for a month. Perhaps we can arrange something. Joseph, make the arrangements." "Yes, sir, brother." "See you at home," Joseph answered. He sounded kind of silly in the presence of a professional, arrogant man like Dr. Müller. "John, please, walk me out," Dr. Müller said. John looked over at me and moved toward the door with them. I couldn't say a word to him. I wanted to follow, but a look from his father rooted me to the spot. Like I said, he gave me the creeps. They disappeared through the door. "I don't like him," I softly whispered. "That makes two of us," Michael said, coming to stand beside me. Joseph walked over to Mrs. Wallace's desk and began giving her instructions. "What's the word on the whole? Is everything all right?" Michael asked, walking over to Joseph. "For now. We may have to shut down the school until they fill it in." "Oh, that's not good," Michael said, disappointed. "Is the hole that bad?" "That still hasn't been confirmed, but I'm sure we'll know very soon the extent of the damage," Joseph answered as he gave me a smile. I fidgeted in place nervously. Knowing what I knew regarding the hole, I needed to talk to John. "Once we know more, we can make a clear decision to the length of school closure. We might not even need to close the school. It all depends on the damage." Joseph's gaze never fell away from me. His eyes were making me nervous. The watch on his wrist began moving. I shifted uneasily, distancing myself, hoping for John to return soon.